Good evening. I'm Craig Johnson. I'm Vice President of the Land Trust. Steve White, our President, sends his regrets. Steve is our very own Jay Peterman, and he is out sailing someplace in the Bahamas and seeking nirvana and enjoying himself way too much and doesn't have to put up with the weather tonight. So Steve does send his regrets, but he'll be back soon, we hope. He may not come back, who knows. 2023 was a tremendous year for the Land Trust. We've had many new members, lots of fun preserving our 835 acres. We have our sights on a number of new properties that we would like to acquire and preserve from development. And we've really worked hard on clearing up the sites and working on trails. Our stewardship committee has been incredibly active in maintaining our trails for everyone to be able to hike on. How many of you guys have been on some of our trails? An awful lot. That's wonderful. Enjoy them. This year, unfortunately, we had two of our longtime trustees decide to step down. I thank Jay Dolberg, who's not here at our members meeting a little while ago, but I just happened to notice that Frank Mabley's in the audience. And you might know that Frank nominated me for the Land Trust 20 years ago. And at that point, we had 1 acre under management. But Frank has been invaluable to our stewarding the Land Trust along and helping us with our policy, helping us with membership, helping us. Frank, I think you did just about everything over the years at one point or another. And you're just so wonderful. Thank you so much for all the time you spent with us. I really appreciate it. So the Land Trust is also guided by our trustees. So the way we work is our members, people who contribute to the Land Trust, elect the trustees. And then the trustees work from day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year in establishing our policies, acquiring property, maintaining properties, and doing everything for the Land Trust. And I see there are a number of them in the room. So anybody who's a trustee, would you just stand up? You guys worked so hard and really appreciate all the work you did for us. You notice they're all down in front. They're all front row people. And then the members. Thank you guys so much for contributing to us. Without you, we would not be here. Without you, we would not have 835 acres under management. Without you, we wouldn't have done tremendous things like 183 Ridgefield Road. So, please go out and enjoy the property that you support. It's so wonderful. And thank you all for all your contributions. And then for just showing up on our work days to help maintain our properties. That's just absolutely huge. So this evening, where am I here? Probably need to have David help me with this. This evening we have Millie the Owl as our guest speaker. I'm sorry. It's Amy Barnouw. Who gives a hoot? I've been working on that joke all day long. Come on, give me a break. David will introduce Amy, but she's brought some of her feathered friends, her fine feathered friends, and some staff, and we'll have an opportunity to meet Millie up close. And I think there's a broadwing hawk, is that right? A broadwing hawk as well. So, but Amy will be an engaging speech, and we're looking forward to it, Amy. But let me take a few minutes. Over the past 15 or 20 years, and Frank, I hope you would agree, the Land Trust has done a lot, but it's not done nearly as much as we have done in preserving Chestnut Meadows. So Chestnut Meadows is 183 Ridgefield Road. It's the old Schlichting property. And I want to just take you through sort of a retrospective of how we got here. It's been a tremendous amount of work for all of us, and it's important that you guys and people who support the Land Trust understand everything we went through to preserve this absolutely beautiful meadow. So I'm going to just take you on a quick tour of what we did, and hopefully you'll be as enthusiastic as I am about it. So this is all of Chestnut Meadows, and you may recall that this is the property, the old Schlichting property. And The Schuchting house was about probably 165 years old when it was torn down. A beautiful old house in need of tremendous amount of repair. I understand a number of people looked at it to try and preserve it. But when it was bought by a developer, unfortunately the building disappeared. And that was a shame. But what was going to go in its place was even worse. It was 35 condos. You can see them here, at least 35 condos in this meadow area. And I won't go into all the details about what happened, but the bottom line is eventually Jim Fieber, the developer, decided that he did not want to try and pursue the development. And he reached out to the land trust. A number of us were surprised by it, but we were very excited. And he said, "Do you want to buy this from us?" And we said, "Of course." And then we all looked at each other and said, "Where the hell are we going to get the money for that?" But we worked very, very hard to help save 183. Because otherwise, if it wasn't condos, it was going to be houses. And having walked it, we just decided we really needed to preserve this property and turn it into a resource for the town of Wilton, for all of you to go out and enjoy. There are not many meadows like 183. And I don't think Donna Merrill is here, but if she was here, she would tell you that it's an undisturbed meadow. It's never, the flora and fauna have never been disturbed over the years. So it's a beautiful meadow with blue stem, what is it? Help me here, somebody? It's little blue stem grasses. But it's really tremendous. So we said, all right, let's figure it out. And so the folks who were working with us at the time were Peter Gaboriel and Donna Merrill and Mike Foster, Steve White, and we said, we've got to save this. I don't know who all those people are, but it was a good slide. So we started looking for money, and George Bauer stepped up. The Bauer Foundation planted the seed for us, no pun intended, and gave us a tremendous contribution. And we said, if the Bauers are going to do this, we're going to save this property. And then we got donations from from the Women's Club, $28,000, and a number of other organizations stepped up. And then the public started. And we had our public campaign. And the public, I forget exactly, Mike, how many contributions we had, but it was over 300 contributions of substantial amount of money from the public. And we raised over $2.2 million to buy this property. Now, this is something that the Land Trust had never done before. We'd never really raised money on our own. We'd always done it in conjunction with a bond with the town or some contribution from the town. We'd never done this on our own. And that's why this is particularly special for all of us, because this property is just so amazing. So there we go. So we bought it from the developer. Thanks to the Foster family, we went through all sorts of machinations to buy it and preserve it and work on taxes, and it got incredibly complicated. But we were able to save it, and then we started thinking, let's build a barn there. Let's make it a home for the Land Trust. We never really thought about this, and this was going to be just an open meadow, but we decided that if we could work it out with the state, for a number of reasons, which I'll get to in a second, maybe we could build a barn there. And we started working on that. We found an old building, thanks to Rick Pariseau, over in Weston. And this was Dan Offit. Anybody know the name Dan Offit? Good. This was Dan Offit's house. And we decided that we would actually it's contributed to us, a part of that building, all the old beams, and we moved it from Weston over to 183. It wasn't easy, but the Dan Offit estate gave us about $380,000 to move the barn and to reconstruct it on site. And so this is officially the Dan Offit barn. And here's a picture of it, what it looks like now. It wasn't easy. We got all the beams trucked over, and then our contractor, Dave Django, looked at them and said, there are more bugs in this thing than you can imagine. So we had to fumigate the beams and rebuild it. It got very, very difficult, and it's something we just hadn't anticipated. But we decided that we were going to go forward, and we started working on it. We started developing landscaping plans. To the members who are here, I mentioned this outdoor amphitheater we have and the demo gardens. Those are TBD. But here could be a pollinator garden, and the paths all throughout here. You can see the driveway. We're extending the walls on either side of the driveway so that they help prevent some of the erosion we've seen up there. But we hired landscape architects to help us develop this, and then we had to start cleaning the place. And we pulled, I don't know, David, how many tires? 80 tires. We are now the largest used tire sales group in the state.
How do you think I get the Wilton?
Yeah, right. And here's David saying, the tires are over there, go get them, folks. But cleaning the site was a big chore for us. And then we decided that we would start working with the American Chestnut Foundation, and we've planted 60 trees so far. Here are our slave labor going out to, well, they've gone, to plant all these trees. But these are all trees that we're going to, if they survive, we'll know that they're blight resistant. So as the trees grow and survive, then we'll start propagating those as well, or the American Chestnut Foundation will. And here are a bunch of the saplings. So part of the reason why it's Chestnut Meadows, and this was a name that was proposed by the Bowers, is because of all of our work with the American Chestnut Foundation. So while the barn was going up, we started planting trees, and then we decided to start building the barn. Here's the foundation going in. Here's the barn. Oop, I'm hitting the wrong button. Sorry about that. The barn under construction. There's our friend the eagle who comes by periodically. And all of our support from the town. And there are a number of people, some of you were in this room, who worked so hard to clean up the site, work with the chestnut trees, work days, Sundays. It was really rewarding to see everyone come out. And here's the barn under construction, and obviously the little blue stem grass in the meadows. A lot of the barn is antique. Most of it's not anymore. It was just too difficult for us to maintain or save some of the old timbers, but we did our best. So here are pictures of the barn going up, and the roof is on, the sun is shining, and here it is almost completed. The driveway we had to move because of the sight lines on the road. When you go out of the driveway, if you go up and visit it, please turn right and go down the hill, go south, don't go north. It's not terribly safe. And just more pictures of the rocks we dug up, the skeleton of the barn. And you can see some of the old timbers. David's been holding a number of events there with the kids on Halloween and on Books in the Blanket and other programs that have been just wonderful. There have been a lot of traffic up there. It's exciting to see everybody come by. And now we're beginning to get to the point where it's almost done. The floors are in. The floors are absolutely beautiful. We have a number of kids have come up and helped us clean up the place. There's some of Mike Foster's grandchildren who are apparently paid below minimum wage. And here's the barn today. Here's the inside of the barn. And it is magnificent. Small, but worth it. And I got to do a bit of a plug for the building committee. Mike Foster and Rob Solman and Mark Rice were the building committee, and they worked tirelessly to get past all the problems we have, solve all sorts of different issues. But when you see it, and you're all going to be invited, it's just a beautiful spot. So for us, this is so exciting and so rewarding. This is, as I said, this is a big venture for us. And please go up and use it. Please enjoy it. This to me is what makes Wilton special. This is, well, I shouldn't say anything negative about Darien, although we all do from time to time, right? but this is what makes Wilton really special. Properties like this, and whether it's Slaughter Fields or some of the properties over on Cannon Road or other ones that we maintain, this is particularly special. So thank you all for contributing, and please enjoy 183. All right, so now, after that boring part, let me turn it over to our Executive Director, David McCarthy. And David's been with us for a number of years now, and he really is the face of the Wilton Land Trust. And David has been so instrumental in getting folks out, getting our name delivered. Without David, we wouldn't be in the state we are today with over $3 million of assets and a tremendous program for children and wildlife programs and other things that David has done. So David, thank you very much for all you help us with, and come on up and give your Executive Director's report.
Let's see here. Well, that's how that works. Okay. All right. Thank you, Craig. Thank you so much for the kind words and the wonderful presentation. And thank you to the annual meeting planning committee, Tina and Kaki, for helping to make this a evening to remember. And thank you all for being here. My name is David McCarthy. I'm the Executive Director of the Wilton Land Trust. And my report is as short and sweet as possible to leave plenty of room for our guest speaker, Amy Barnouw, from the Connecticut. This is complicated. The Director of the Fairfield region of the Connecticut Audubon Society. It's a mouthful. I used to have to say Wilton Land Conservation Trust, and now I just get to say Wilton Land Trust. That's so much better. I would like to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for our outgoing trustee, Jay Dahlberg. He was here with us for 35 years. I don't know what it's like to do anything for 35 years, so hats off to Jay. And welcome Marlon Clark to the team, one of our newest trustees. Thank you so much for all the work you've done with stewardship. I can't wait to continue that work. And another special thank you to all of our returning trustees, Roger, Mike, and Will. 60 years. Happy birthday, Wilton Land Trust. Founded in 1964, the Wilton Land Trust has been working to advance its mission for 60 years. Now, driving around Wilton, you can't help but to notice all of the scenic views, the abundance of timeless meadows, historic rock walls. I'm here to say that we are Wilton's Land Trust, and we protect those spaces. Since 1964, your land trust has worked to protect Wilton's unique, natural, scenic, and historic landscapes. In our later years, as Craig mentioned, we enhanced our mission and took on staff to build a more nature-centered community, protect biodiversity, promote environmental awareness, and continue preserving land. Now, this graph illustrates just how much land we conserved over the decades. And as you can tell, there's a lot of land conserved in the 90s and early 2000s. And that's because at the time, the town had a large appetite for conserving land. And we have the late Bob Russell to thank for helping to bridge a lot of that work into the land trust. We worked as a partner with the town, and our acquisitions committee is still working to conserve more land. And as you can tell here, this was the years of when we did the 183 Ridgefield Road Preserve. We're very excited to continue that, and we're excited about the possibility of joining forces with the town under its new leadership, but we're also realistic about the needs to spend our tax dollars. So there are other ways to preserve land than outright purchase, and that's to conserve land through your estate and or with an easement. So the benefits of including the land trust in your estate plans are monumental and can come with an array of tax and estate benefits. When I give walks and talks, as Craig was illuminating, I often ask the crowd, why do we call this the Harrison Smith Preserve? Why do we call this the Walter Meadow? And then I go ahead and explain that these community members had the foresight to preserve this land in perpetuity so that we can walk and see these view sheds and these vistas and these forests. Otherwise, we'd be standing in someone's front yard. Oh, I apologize. My notes are still over here. So over 60 years, we couldn't have done this without our amazing members. You are the lifeblood of this organization, and I want to thank you for helping us get to where we are today. So we've evolved over the decades, but even after 60 years, we remain very connected to the root of our existence, and that is protecting open space. To do that, the Wilton Land Trust is a 503(c) charitable nonprofit with a mission that's become more crucial than ever, and more critical, I should say. We're not a municipal body or commission, nor do we receive regular funding from the town, state, or federal government. In fact, 100% of our operating revenue comes from our generous members. Everything we've shared tonight is because of you, so thank you so much. And advancing our mission today means much more than it did decades ago. We know we can't do this alone. We know conservation takes a village, so we're working to communicate, educate, and galvanize support for nature. 2023 was an amazing year. We hit tops in so many things. Trying to think. Oh, I'm so sorry, I don't have to think. My notes are right here. I have to say, again, that's what it is. It's an extremely exciting time to be involved with the Land Trust, simply that we're doing much more than we ever have. There's so much we could be doing, but we're not there yet, as Craig was saying. And I really want to thank the fantastic Land Trust team to help us get us to where we are today and to help us have had such a fantastic 2023. We have our tremendous Board of Trustees, our bookkeeper, Lee Rostetter, our high school interns, Ethan, Anna, Jill, and Afraz, our college interns, Alessia and Zach, and Judy, our stewardship programs manager, and our members, volunteers, and partners. It is you that really help us sustain this work and advance our mission. We're doing a lot these days, so I boiled it down to these 6 categories, and I'll discuss them throughout my speech. It's the people that make Wilton such a great place to be. As a community-focused nonprofit, we are intimately interwoven into the fabric of this wonderful community. The Land Trust consists of a board of 14 trustees, a small but growing staff consisting of myself, our bookkeeper, and our part-time stewardship programs manager. This newly created role maintains our ecological restoration efforts and oversees our professional youth opportunities. In 2023, Judy was our first, and unfortunately, other ventures have called to her, and she has stepped down. Nonetheless, we have expanded this role. Is Judy here tonight? No, she said she might be able to make it, but we've expanded this role, and we're currently hiring. So if you know anyone who's interested, please send them our way. Our internship program, launched in 2020 with just 1, has grown to accept 4 and possibly more. Working for just 3 to 5 hours a week, or for 13 weeks through the spring and the fall, our high school interns gain invaluable experience. And I'm going to put one of them on the spot right now. Afraz, are you here? Can you stand up? Did he leave? Oh, he's sneaky. I saw him earlier. He's probably hiding his face. That's okay. I really wanted to thank all our interns. I know a lot of them have a hard time making evening commitments. He was here. But our interns are really helping shape the face of our organization, and they're exploring conservation as a career right here with the Wilton Land Trust. And those interns were Jill and Afraz, Anna and Ethan, and again, our college interns for the first time, Alessia and Zach. Then we take the time to recognize their leadership at the Wilton High School Academic Awards Assembly, and we give out what I've been told is the largest scholarship of the program, the E. Dan Capel Scholarship Award. And if we're lucky, one intern sticks around over the summer, and we pay him to help mow our trails or keeping our plantings and what we've established in the spring alive through the heat of the summer. And last but not least, the people of the Land Trust are you, our members, our volunteers. You're the heart and soul of this organization, and I really mean that. So much so that I take the time to make videos and document it with pictures on Instagram and social media to show that it is you all that are out there helping to make this work. And a lot of those videos are playing back there, so yeah. So if you're feeling excited and you want to get a little bit more involved, just reach out. You know where to find us. In 2023, we made progress on every single front, setting new records in support from the community, general trust contributions, volunteers in the field, trees planted, invasive species removed, partnerships made, public events held, and so much more. Together, we're supporting endangered wildlife, we're protecting water quality, we're restoring native forests and meadows, but more importantly, we're building a community that's centered around nature. I said it before and I'll say it again. It's you that make all of this possible. We're a membership organization, and our efforts depend solely on the commitment of our members. Our development committee is hard at work galvanizing support for our mission, and 2023 marked the highest year of charitable giving for the 4th year in a row. Thank you again. And support for our critical mission is growing through contributions, volunteerism, partnerships, and corporate support. We're helping residents to create their lasting legacies. Just 2 years ago, our endowment fund was created to help sustain our critical mission long into the future. And in 2023, we nominated a new trustee that was just voted in tonight, Marlon Clark. Welcome to the organization officially. Thank you so much. Oh, there we go. This clicker it's finicky. But most of all, in 2023, we established newer connections with our members and our neighbors, with our policymakers and local leaders, and with our great partners like Wildlife in Crisis. Together, we're fostering Wilton's connections to nature. There's a weird shadow that casts. There we go. In 2023, we advanced our mission, restoring habitat and enriching the Wilton community through our programs and partnerships. We also actively demonstrated that nature is just fun. It doesn't have to be orchestrated. It doesn't have to be a program. Just get out there. Just go explore it. And these partnerships have been a tremendous growth area for us. With over 1,000 registrants across 31 programs, we're connecting people of all ages with our mission. Like that here of Turtle Time featured here with, that thing was terrifying. It has a little, it's snapper, and it has a fake worm on its tongue. It's bright red, and it's trying to lure you in, and it almost got me. No, I'm just kidding. Or our second annual Sunset Lantern Walk that we host every fall now. Through the Land Trust, our members were able to witness the release of over half a dozen rehabilitated hawks and owls in partnership with Wildlife in Crisis. We're helping to save the American chestnut tree with the American Chestnut Foundation. In 2023, we developed and deepened our partnerships to create new programs like Birds and Binoculars with Joe Bear, or Wellness Walk with Stay at Home in Wilton, and Tinker Garden with Playful Roots Learning. We revitalized our Create and Connect watercolor program with the Friends of Ware Farm. And we continued connecting poets and artists with nature through our Poetry in the Preserve program, a partnership with the Wilton Library and the Connecticut Poetry Society. Oh, I skipped that one, but that's us with Woodcock Nature Center doing hikes. We do about 3 to 4 a year. And we're restoring biodiversity with ASML, who's become a wonderful partner and member of the Land Trust. And we love giving talks, too. Here I am, we're talking to the Kiwanis Club and trying to garner more support and get people excited about all the amenities that we offer to the town. We're teaching people about birds of prey with the Sharon Audubon. And we're connecting kids with the outdoors through our thriving Books in a Blanket program, again in partnership with Wilton Library and Wilton Go Green. And the Halloween program, let me tell you, trick-or-treating in a meadow, I mean, can you get more Connecticut? It's absolutely fantastic. And our amazing volunteers are transforming our landscapes and enhancing wildlife habitat. Through our Stewardship Sunday program, which has become our flagship program, we are really making a difference. And this is me and my daughter here. We're planting a willow tree. And I digress for a second about the importance of featuring myself when I'm up here. But the reason I'm here today, the reason I have a career in nature, is because I was exposed to programs like this as a kid. And the work we're doing to help kids connect those dots is invaluable. And I'm very honored to be doing that work. So it's important to remember that these programs, they do more than connect, they inspire. And I stand here as a living testament to that. So preserves, this is the biggest reason we're here, land. We conserve and protect the lands and waters that support life. Our preserves conserve nature and history. They protect native habitats biodiversity. They support wildlife and endangered species. And they also offer healthier lifestyles for Wilton residents. We own or hold easement on nearly 835 acres, and that is a lot of land. So in 2023, we mapped it. Not just our own, we mapped all of Wilton's open spaces and trails. Open space is a major part of what makes Wilton great, and we made it that much more accessible. Our online and interactive map, built with volunteer Wallace Lee, who I think is right there. I wanted to embarrass someone. I didn't get to get a phrase. It's accessible from your smartphone, from your computer. Just go to our website. You can geolocate yourself, and it'll track you and show you a preserve or trail. And if you're walking the trail, it will find you, and you could know where right and left goes. So you could find your car at the end, because that's the hardest part of hiking, is where's my car? We all know that. I've been there. A preserve I wanted to highlight tonight is our Shanks Island Nature Preserve. Last year, it saw a great deal of stewardship and trail enhancement. So by raise of hands, how many people have been to Shanks Island? Oh, that's amazing. Now keep your hands up. Go ahead. Yep. How many of you know or knew we own a piece of the island? That's still good. Yeah, so it's confusing because the sign's gone now, but we'll get a new one up. But what was that? Oh, it got put back up? They were doing construction, and it was kind of cast to the side for a moment. But that island had been overthrown with invasives, and it had been for a long time. So action was needed, and we took it. We, meaning our volunteers, we worked to revamp the trailhead. We removed invasives. We planted natives. The trail is now better, safer, wider, more biodiverse. And the grand vision for the entrance is that of like a bird sanctuary where the birds will flutter from habitat to food, right to left. And if you haven't been there, I encourage you to take a walk come spring when everything starts to bloom. And throughout the year, we actively manage and enhance our protected lands, as Craig was illuminating earlier. And to help is our scouts, our community. I apologize, I skipped to Colin, but this year we planted 70 native eco-type wildflowers with the Wilton Girl Scout Troop 50792, third graders, featured here. Thank you. And Colin Rafferty, an Eagle Scout, helped make our trails more accessible with the addition of this boardwalk. Thank you, Colin. And as Craig was discussing earlier, Chestnut Meadows, one of our preserves. We're extremely grateful for everyone that helped contribute to the purchase of this property. And it is, I can't wait to have everyone there this spring. And I wanted to give tribute again to our building committee, who have worked through so many challenges, but successfully completing not only the barn, but the development of the site itself. It's important to remember that Chestnut Meadows is a lot more than the developments that we've put there. And I'll echo Craig in that same notion that it's 13 and a half acres, maybe 14, that help connect people with nature. And it's a success story to help inspire further conservation in Lower Fairfield County. And you can expect our full range of programs there. But passively, you can walk the trails and go see the American chestnut trees for yourself. And that's it over my head. And I won't tell you the name of the trustee who said, I won't see it grow over your head in my lifetime, but there it is. They're here tonight. They know who they are. Across our preserves, our stewardship committee has been hard at work. Year-round, the committee and the community work to improve our preserves, enhance our trails, and nurture native habitats. And our flagship program, Stewardship Sundays, it invites members from the community of all ages to help restore native habitats. I kid you not, on one of the programs, we had a baby next to someone who was 90, working together. And I'm like, oh, I got to get a picture of that. And I did, and I should have, never mind. Oh, man. So in 2023, we hosted 9 community work days. We had a few more scheduled, but I don't know if you remember, it was super rainy. We had a total of about 425 volunteers, totaling around 2,100 volunteer hours. And in that time, we planted 450 native trees, 20 of which were American chestnuts. We cleared countless invasives, and we widened and improved our trails. And I just want to say thank you to all of those. If all those volunteers, if they're here tonight, and invite anyone who wants to get involved in that exciting work to just shoot me an email or sign up online. It's an hour and a half on a Sunday. It's less than a movie. It's after lunch, but before dinner. I don't know what excuse you can give after that. And last but not least, the last part of my presentation is possibilities. This is the big one, and we're driven to advance our mission and enrich the Wilton community, and the possibilities with the Land Trust, they're truly endless. We're only limited by our capacity, and that is growing every year thanks to you. We've been able to increase our team and our impacts. Nature is for everyone. Open space brings cleaner water, fresher air, improved mental health, and it's said that kids who feel connected with nature are happier. They're more likely to befriend, help, share. On the horizon is our Chestnut Meadows Nature Preserve with the Offset Barn, and this will dramatically increase our capacity to galvanize more support, to create and host recreational educational programs, and bring people together outdoors. So that was 2023. I have one slide for 2024. Thanks to growing interest in our mission, we've really been able to do more than we can ever before. And in 2024, we're going to focus across the board to deepen our connections within the community, conserve more land, increase awareness, communicate our impacts, that's something I'm working on every day, and enrich the Wilton community by continuing to engage residents with our mission and our conservation activities. Thank you. I do have a minute if anyone has a question of any kind. This is my daughter's, in case anyone was asking. Is there a clip? No questions? That's okay. It's my great pleasure to introduce the highlight of our evening, our keynote speaker, the reason why everyone's here, Amy Barnouw. I got it right. I'll go ahead and introduce her. As director of the Fairfield region of the Connecticut Audubon Society, Amy collaborates with local organizations and individuals. She actively pursues Connecticut Audubon's conservation and education objectives, secures necessary funds, and plays a key role in formulating executive strategies related to conservation, development, research, education, and communication initiatives. Amy brings a unique blend of expertise in marketing and business development for regional and national environmental conservation organizations in the for-profit and not-for-profit sectors. Native to Connecticut, she started her career in the Pacific Northwest. So feel free to ask her all kinds of questions about that. As a regional director of Lighthawk, creating innovative campaigns that addressed conservation efforts around deforestation and watershed health in Alaska, Washington, and Oregon. She then served as the assistant director of the Wilderness Society in the Northwest region based in Seattle before returning to the East Coast. In 2010, she co-founded Planet Fuel Beverage, a company and its social impact arm, the Planet Fuel Charitable Fund. And the charitable fund, she developed a high school advisory council who oversaw the environmental grant-making process and launched an environmental film series at the Fairfield Theater Company to showcase award-winning documentaries. Most recently, Amy was marketing director at Catabat. It's a hard one. I'm not good at spelling bees. Where she led their global digital marketing campaigns. She served on the boards of various conservation organizations, including Connecticut Audubon Society from 2018 to 2022, and currently as its president's council member of the Norma Firma Breast Cancer. FRAMA. Yeah, I'm going to get off stage now, so thank you. Without any further ado, it is Amy. Not until I put her presentation up, so hold on. Oh, perfect. And
right.
The remote is
Clicker.
right here.
Good.
Who's stealing it?
That was me. I think this got in a minute.
Oh, no, that's what broke the clicker.
Oh, great.
There we go. No, we got it.
You got it.
Yeah,
Good.
perfect.
Okay. What do I press?
Right and left, and that's the laser.
All right. Good evening. How's everyone doing? You've been very patient. So I know, trust me, I know the real reason you're all here is for what's in those boxes. But we will get there shortly. And I'm really excited we gave you guys a twofer tonight. We said we bring Millie and we brought Ruby as well. So we have a barn owl and we also have a broad-shouldered hawk. And they've been waiting very patiently. You think you guys have been patient. They've been very patient. My name is Amy Barnouw. As we've already covered that, right? So I'm with the Connecticut Audubon Society. And, you know, first of all, let me say, this is unbelievably impressive to have this introduction to the Wilton Land Trust and to the work you do. So give yourselves a round of applause. Seriously, give yourself a round of applause. Incredible amount of work that you do with a very small staff. I know how much that means. You rely on David, but the board, the members. So kudos to you. You're cranking, and that Chestnut Meadows is spectacular. I'm planning to go. When Dave and I were talking about doing this presentation tonight, we wanted to focus on why we care, what matters, why we want to save and protect not just Wilton, but all of Connecticut. And that's why that word celebrating is there, because we do a really great job talking about the sky that's falling and depressing things like climate change. But it's really important to also celebrate the sort of magnificent beauty of the state that we live in. So that is what we're going to do a little bit tonight. And I'll step through this so we can sort of re-fall in love. Hopefully you guys will learn a little bit about Connecticut and the state we live in, and then we'll get to our bird friends. So the Connecticut Audubon Society's mission is very simple. We are here to protect Connecticut's birds and other wildlife. We are not just birds, and their habitats. And we do that through three core pillars. We focus on conservation, so flat out conservation. We own land and we protect land all over the state of Connecticut. We do that through advocacy. We will cover that a little bit later on one of my slides. The legislative work that we do, we are not a 501c4, so we do not lobby, but we do a lot of work on engaging our members to change and impact laws and bills. And then lastly, through education. So Tricia, and I should have just introduced Tricia when I stepped up here. Tricia Cavalis is the Assistant Director of the Fairfield region. She has been with Audubon for almost 25 years. She doesn't even look 25 years old, but she has been with us for almost 25 years. And Tricia leads, among all sorts of things, also runs our education programs. And in the Fairfield region alone, we have over 6,000 students that come through our facility at the Nature Center in Fairfield, including Wilton schools, right? We have fifth graders from Wilton that come to our facility in Fairfield. So we are a regional asset, and we encourage you to come see us if you are not already familiar. In fact, has anybody been to the Nature Center in Fairfield and the Larson Sanctuary? Couple hands, come see us. It's spectacular, and you can see all of these birds and the other friends. We have a Birds of Prey compound there that we're actually in the middle of renovating. So that's our mission, and I don't want to brag. I mean, I know you guys have been around for 60 years, but we've been around for 125. So, somebody had to pave the way, right? So we celebrated our 125th last year, 1898. Pretty incredible to think of what was going on in this country 125 years ago. In Fairfield, we're a statewide organization, but we were actually founded in Fairfield. It was a group of women in their 20s and 30s, and they were actually getting together, starting this organization in response to the slaughter of birds for the Milner trade. This was back when women wore full birds and feathers on their hat. And 125 years ago, the state of Florida was slaughtering over 1 million birds a year for women to wear on their hats. It's hard to actually wrap my head around that they even had the infrastructure to do that back then, but they did. And Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and New Jersey Audubons had started 1895, 1896, so we were maybe, I think, the third or fourth to start by these young women. And they formulated and started as an organization. We have an incredible basement of rich archives, literally with all their handwritten letters from 125 years ago when they incorporated, when they were lobbying, when they were scheduling visits with schools, which is really a cool thing to think about. To be clear, we are the Connecticut Audubon Society. Buckle up, because this is strange, but we are the Connecticut Audubon Society. We were founded in 1898. Mabel Osgood Wright, one of our founders, then went on to be one of the people instrumental in founding the National Audubon Society. It is a totally different 501c3. The Greenwich facility and the Sharon facility, both of which are spectacular, are part of the chapter of the National Audubon Society's Connecticut chapter. That is not us. It's like you guys having like the Land Trust of Wilton and having to explain to everybody Wilton Land Trust or the Land Trust of Wilton. It's bizarre, but it's what we have. So we are the Connecticut Audubon Society. We work just exclusively in Connecticut. We do all of that work across 6 regions, and so we represent the Fairfield region, which is Fairfield and all of its surrounding communities. And we're the largest region. We operate a tremendous amount of education programs, outreach, and conservation advocacy. And as I mentioned, we do have the Birds of Prey compound at our facility too, which is a really cool sort of additional treat for us. So there's probably a million different ways you could slice this sentiment, and the sentiment is always true. We protect what we love, and certainly you guys love Wilton. You're doing a phenomenal job investing and protecting in Wilton. And my hope for tonight is to give you a little bit of an extra glance at what's happening across the state of Connecticut, because the reality is, I'm sure we all have a shared vision, which is that we want our natural environment not just to survive, we want it to thrive. And in order for Chestnut Meadow and for all of the other acreage that you own to actually matter as an ecosystem, it has to have connectivity to other ecosystems, especially when it comes to habitat. So our goal as a nonprofit organization, as is yours, as we all are together, really is the rising tide that lifts all boats. And we want to make sure that for the state of Connecticut, we have a lot of habitat that's protected in perpetuity, which is really the key thing, right? So that is ultimately our shared goal. So we are going to start with a little pop quiz, because I want to know what you guys know about the state that we live in. Some of these are not nature related, but they're still fun anyway. So we're going to pop through them very quickly, and I want you guys to call out, because I'm very curious what people know. Can you hear me okay if I step away? No one's ever accused me of being quiet. So. Only one U.S. president born in the United States. Anybody? George W. Bush, born in New Haven before he moved to Texas. That's right. You're off to a very good start. Connecticut was the what state to ratify? Anybody? Fifth. Who knew that? Very smart. Got the 5th state. So we were the 5th state to join. And anybody know roughly our population? Where are we? Just shy. We're like 4.8 right now, or excuse me, 3.8 million right now. 3.6 back in 2020, so we're just over that. One of the most densely populated states in the nation from a per acreage capita. So something to think about from an environmental standpoint. We're one of the most densely populated. Okay. State mammal. Whale. What else? What's right? No, it's the sperm whale. Who said whale? Sperm whale. Isn't that crazy? That is our state mammal. Most people don't know that. It goes back to our history as a whaling community when this great state was founded. So sperm whale, nobody even talks about sperm whales being present in this Long Island Sound or the New York Cut anymore anyway. But that is our state mammal. State bird. American robin. State flower. Laurel. Very good. What about insect? Mosquito.
It's either the blue butterfly or the dragonfly. I don't know which one.
It's actually the European mantis, part of the praying mantis, which isn't even native. So why? I don't know why. I just relay these things. Most common tree. Red maple. Yeah. But the state tree is what? Which oak? White oak. Yep, white oak. We'll cover that a little bit later. All right, how fast can a black bear get at its fastest? First of all, who's seeing black bear now in their yeah? And who saw a lot of black bear 5 years ago, 10 years ago? How fast has anybody had to outrun a bear yet? Yeah, Tricia has on the property, but that's it. How much? 35. So you guys better get in good shape. you're just after, just run faster than someone next to you. We have how many native snake species? 14. All right, did you read all of this? What's going on back there? You're going to have to be quiet until someone else gets. You're very smart. 14 species of native snakes. 2 of them are venomous, not poisonous, venomous. Timber rattlesnake and the copperhead. That's right. So after you outrun the bear, do not put your hand over the rock. All right, the word from Connecticut comes from, anybody know? Yeah, it's a word that's basically like Quinatucket, which turned into Connecticut, and it means a long tidal river, or along the river, which of course goes to the Connecticut River. A very, very influential river valley, of course, when Connecticut was established, so that's the history of where that comes from. Tallest point in Connecticut is what? Or what and where? Anybody know? What? It is part of Bear Mountain. So Bear Mountain is in New York. So this is the upper northwest corner of the state, and there's it's called like Fizzle Mountain or Fizzell Mountain that comes off of Bear Mountain into Connecticut, and it's like 2,380 feet, something like that. We have how many miles of coastline, including navigable rivers? 600 miles, a lot. And you guys know this, how forested is Connecticut? 60%. You get 100% for that one. 60%, which again is very complex, and we are also one of the most densely populated. So 60% forested. So here we are as our small but mighty state. We have, this is, maybe you're going to find some that are included here, but largely we are a state made up of 7 different primary habitats. That is actually really rather profound when we are such a small state. And of course, we've got this incredible benefit of having Long Island Sound and the Connecticut River Valley. And so our little small state is doing a tremendous amount of work in supporting diverse and rich and abundant habitat for hopefully rich, diverse, and abundant wildlife, right? So we'll go through these a little bit by bit. But if you think about the sandy beaches and coastlines, going, where's this little, oh no, what did I do? Oh, there, phew, just kidding. There's that. All right, so you've got your sandy beaches and coastlines and your estuaries, all of that incredible rich habitat, and it moves up, of course, to your tidal marshes and your saltwater marshes getting up inland. We have incredible, abundant water all over the state. The farmland really is primarily along the Connecticut River Valley. We've got grasslands and meadows that are generally also along the river valleys. Your shrublands were what were historically, or they are the sort of the less mature part of your forest, right? So 7 different incredible habitats that collectively make up this state. And as I said earlier, we are all, sharing this goal to try and make sure that we are locking up and protecting as much as possible. And I love knowing that Wilton Land Trust is protecting meadows just like you're protecting forest lands and whatever else is becoming available, because they all matter. So if we look at them sort of bit by bit, and we'll just go through these a little bit, I want to just highlight a couple of special things about them. So we're 60% forested. White oaks are the most sort of prolific, generally speaking. The red maple, I think, is the most common, but white oaks are the official state tree. We have millions and millions of them. And one of the cool things about white oaks is that their fruit, their acorns, have significantly less acidic than the other oaks. So they're actually, therefore, far more tasty. So they attract and serve as food for a very, very rich collection of mostly your charismatic megafauna, your black bears, your bobcats, your lynx, your deer, your turkey, down to the squirrels. Everybody likes those white oaks. So the white oaks and the fact that we have so many of them is a really good thing for supporting a lot of diverse habitat, because they love the acorns of the white oaks. As I said already, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I kind of already covered it. one thing I'd like to say is that the numbers kind of vary. We have a tremendous amount of our forests in private land holdings. The state of Connecticut, as part of New England mandate, was mandated to get 25% of the state protected by 2023. We did not do that, and we are way behind the other New England states, significantly behind the other New England states. I don't know if it's a combination of we don't have the money in hand, or if we don't have the legislators buying it. I don't know exactly what the holdup is, but we have not done that yet. What it does mean is that if we have 75 to 85% of our forests in private holdings, that includes land trusts, that includes us, that includes, so a lot of that is good because it's protected, but it also means a lot of that is in private holdings and people's lands and properties, businesses and whatnot, which is where there's a lot that's going to be available to get purchased and protected. So, that's something, if you're talking to your legislators too, we could all sort of lean in and ask why we aren't doing a better job getting our land protected as we are mandated to do. Shrublands in general, I think, are probably one of the least understood or least recognized habitats in the state. We tend to think of those as, sort of southwestern landscapes. But shrublands are incredibly important. They are actually the most rapidly declining, and have been for decades in the state of Connecticut, because left untended, they become mature forests. And we aren't allowing for the natural systems, like wildfire and hurricanes and natural storms that allow shrublands to stay in existence. So we're not doing a great job in any part of the country allowing shrublands to really exist, but they are a very critical habitat for obvious reasons. 50%, the definition of shrubland is that at least 50% is covered by those shrubs, and you're talking woody shrubs and herbaceous plantings that provide phenomenal habitats, especially for your small birds and small animals. So they rely on that shrubland for really strong protection for nesting and feeding and all of those. That is the eastern cottontail right there. He is on the list of greatest conservation concern. They're trying to keep it off the Endangered Species Act. We actually have them at our Larson Sanctuary in Fairfield, but they are very close to extinction in the state of Connecticut, so we're doing a lot to try and protect them. Of course, it's one of those indicator species for a healthy environment in that shrubland area. So a lot of birds that rely on shrublands. So something to think about is a land trust. Where do you have areas that could be maintained as shrublands, or areas that could be attractive to you when you look at your overall strategy, identifying not just forests, but identifying different structures of habitat like this, because really ultimately we need all of them to weave and play together, right? So shrublands probably don't get enough of a nod. And I'll move through this a little quickly so we can get it. So grasslands and meadows, you guys are already doing your part with chestnut meadows, but again, this would be 50% of grasslands and meadows. This is an area that is probably was the easiest to sort of transition from open space to development, because people would just put houses and they didn't have to do a lot of clearing. So grasslands and meadows that used to be sort of widespread were sort of most attractive to developers over time. But of course have incredible rich diversity and habitat needs. And so they were oftentimes found along sort of the sandy, the riverbeds where it was sandy and it didn't support a lot of shrub and tree growth. But again, a lot of that's gotten transitioned into forest lands. So farmlands, Millie's ears are chirping at this one, because this is where barn owls would normally live. Anybody know what extricated means? So unfortunately, barn owls are extinct in the state of Connecticut, which is a terrible, terrible tragedy. So extricated means they're extinct in the state, but they're not extinct nationally. So they are very present in other states. Where are they still strongholds? Midwest and everywhere but Connecticut. How sad is that? So they do really literally rely on things like barns, where they can have a secure, private, and safe habitat. I'm not going to go on to barn owls, because Tricia can do that while she has Millie out. But really, truly, that, of course, is a very special open space. Now, farmlands are probably one of the more controversial habitats because they are man-made. And this was a state that was like 90% ag land after it got settled and developed, and they cleared all the forests. water-rich state. We've got lakes, pools, and of course Wilton is right. We have tons of streams and rivers and ponds and lakes across this area of the state. This is really the stronghold for most of our amphibians, and we have a lot. So we actually do pretty well in protecting this because most counties and towns have watershed agencies or departments. Does everybody know what a vernal pool is? Good. If you don't, I'll move through this and you can come find me later. But protect them when you can, because if you're not aware of them in the spring or summer, you don't know they exist in the fall or winter. And then of course estuaries. This area is just a incredible sort of stronghold for so much important wildlife. Marshes are fascinating because they rely on the decaying marshes from last year that sort of decays as the water comes up and drops, it comes up and drops, and that's what creates really awesome food sources and diversity for habitat. Does anybody know what that picture is right there? Yes. Has anybody gone and seen them yet? It's the tree swallows. So we have, and I have some brochures over there. We have a part of Connecticut Audubon called Eco Travel. And last year we got to go up to, it's in like Old Lyme. So this is the mouth of the Connecticut River. And it's literally in marshes, tidal marshes, just like this. There is about 1 million tree swallows that gather in the fall in the marshes right at the mouth of the Connecticut River. And they call it like the avian ballet. I've never seen anything like it. It's life-changing. So please, 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 if you know someone with a boat, get them to take you or come on one of our eco tours. They can get up like a Sunday afternoon, you go out with a bunch of friends. And you get out into the river, right on the Connecticut River there, near the mouth, the Long Island Sound. And in the evening, the swallows are all out hunting all day. And it's like there's an orchestra, it's like there's like a conductor. And all of a sudden, they start showing up little bits, and within a few minutes, you're surrounded by 1 million tree swallows, all filling the air, like the air becomes black, and they swoop and they do all of that, like right out of like movies that you see, right? So they're doing this, and they all gather over the marshes, and it's as if somebody goes like, and they go, and then they go to bed. That's it. It's unbelievable. So please, please, please go check it out. It's one of nature's like really cool things, and it's right up the road. It is, I promise you, it's a really cool treat. So do that. And then, of course, our sandy beaches. The unfortunate thing for the wildlife is they need the same place. The same needs that they have for the beaches are the same desires that humans have for the beaches. And so we work really hard, certainly at our Milford Point and Stratford Point locations, to try and protect these breeding grounds. And let's just take a second to enjoy a little tale or two. Do you like that pun? Tale or two? Because it's worth acknowledging that we have had a lot of success. And when I say we, I mean really a collaborative, massive partnership effort to get great success with piping clover and oyster catchers on the beach and using protective fencing, keeping people away. Some people don't like that. Most people understand. It's a short period of time, and it makes a huge difference for the breeding, for the beach breeding animals. Bald eagles and osprey are huge success stories for the state of Connecticut. Craig, who was just telling me? Yes, Craig was just telling me about the bald eagles, 4 bald eagles and youngins in their yard. I mean, have you guys seen bald eagles everywhere now? It is extraordinary. Same thing with osprey. We have a program called Osprey Nation. If anybody's interested, it's all volunteer, and you basically adopt a nest, and you can train on how to monitor that nest. It's a citizen science project that helps us collect real-time data about how many active nests there are and how many fledglings. So that's actual data. Like the 900 nests are nests that we track through our volunteer system every single year. Another little thing, if anybody is interested, there's a film out now called The Season of the Osprey. Has anybody seen it yet? anybody, you guys all know that there's like this, everybody know about the Atlantic Flyway? We're going to move away from terrestrial and go to the air for just a little bit, tee up these guys. So there are 4 super avian highways. We are square in the middle of the Atlantic Flyway. We are talking about millions and millions and millions of birds that travel 2 times a year. The spring migration is in May, which is when they are coming back north, and in the fall it's like mid-August through September when they are headed south. 2 times of the year, and Connecticut sits squarely in the avian highway, and we have on any given day up to 1 million birds a day flying over the state of Connecticut. It is extraordinary. You can get online, you can follow the Cornell lab. There's like videos you can watch. So if you're interested, which I encourage you to, because migration is like one of the coolest things. And it's really interesting to see. There's like a daily tracker, and they count how many birds are really flying over the state of Connecticut. So these are just some like, I was not a birder when I was out in Seattle. I was working on like big animals, so I've become the biggest birder just in my appreciation for what these critters do. And you're talking about like, so this is a little red knot, and they fly from northern Canada to the southern tip of Argentina, and they will do that with like 1 or 2 stops. What is that? It's unbelievable. This guy breeds in the tundra and winters in South America, so that little bird. All right, here's one of my favorite things. So the broadwing hawk, oh, that's a little loosey. The broadwing hawk, hawks, eagles, vultures, and falcons are all the raptors that migrate. And they migrate during the day. Songbirds migrate at night. So back in the 60s, NASA was trying to understand what all of these like weird cloud disturbances were at night, because they were seeing all these like black streaks, and they couldn't figure out what it was. And it took them like years and years to understand that was actually millions of migrating birds that NASA was seeing on these things, and they were trying to figure out what this like weird stuff was. So songbirds migrate at night because, of course, they have moonlight, starlight, and fewer predators. Raptors migrate during the day. So here's my favorite like cool hawk thing. So hawks use the benefit of the thermal air. So in the morning, you know, it cools the land. They migrate in the fall. So it's, you know, land cools down at night. In the morning, you get these thermal warm air gusts coming up from the ground. So the hawks, if you've ever seen this in the fall, when you see hawks circling, has everybody seen that before? It's called a kettle, when a group of hawks circle. They get into that thermal, that circulating warm air, and they use it as a little like escalator, a little elevator, and they circle and take that thermal air all the way up, till it doesn't bring them up anymore, and then they use that higher elevation and they coast until they hit the next thermal gust, and they take that all the way up, and then they coast and fly back down. So they're using those thermal rising of air to extend as little energy as possible as part of their migration strategy. How cool is that? I mean, that is like, that's what Ruby's family does. So there's so much impressive detail that you can find when you dig deep and you know, do a little research on species, whether it's birds or bear or bobcat, which we're now seeing so often now in our community. And it's such a cool thing to just sit back and think about what some of these animals and species are doing to survive, and you know, the little things that we can do as a community to make a difference. So very So in closing, I want to say that, I think there's so much that we do individually in our lives every single day. We are incredibly influential as consumers in every single thing that we buy, in the choices we make with our homes, our lighting, our plantings, and our landscapings. So the power of one individual is really at the core of what we do, and then you add all of you as one organization, and us as individuals and one organization, and we all come together, and we have endless amounts of power for good. And there are a ton of success stories right now, and more than anything, there is so much reason to fight and continue to work to protect this beautiful state of Connecticut that we're a part of. So thank you so much for inviting us tonight. I hope you learned a little bit about this wonderful state that we live in. And with that, we are going to get a chance to meet two of our greatest ambassadors that if I can't get into to do some things, these guys will do that. So we have this
Thank you. Well, I learned a lot. If you noticed, I don't know if anybody heard, but while Amy was talking about the rodenticide, Lily was chirping in her box. That's why I was trying to get her to call, because she was actually chirping when you were talking about that. But she's ready to come. So just so you know, we at Connecticut Audubon have applied for ambassadors. A lot of you were questioning me outside. We do not do the rehab of the birds. So the birds come to us once they've been rehabilitated by a vet or wildlife in crisis or a local rehabber, and we care for them for the rest of the remainder of their lives, bringing them to education programs. No, they're not releasable, whereas I know a couple of you saw the video, the Barnouw and the red-tailed hawks, those birds were releasable, ours are not, and they are trained for education purposes, so they're on a leash. They might get a little antsy tonight. Those lights are going to be a draw for my barn owl. Not the lights, they're standing straight out. She's going to want to sit up there. But she is on a leash and Jess's, so she's not going to go anywhere. The only thing she's probably going to do is go to the bathroom. So my front row, you are in my splash zone. So we'll see. There was a little girl waiting to see her outside. She came running, Millie, it's Millie. And I said, no, I just finally brought her out. And I was like, we just have to be quick because she can't poop on the carpet. Yeah, all over the carpet. So this is Millie. I'm going to step down. She's going to flap because she does not like the height change. So this is Millie. Millie is an American barn owl, and she is native to Connecticut, but if you heard with Amy, they are extinct in Connecticut, but they are one of the owls to be worldwide. So they are worldwide, but in Connecticut they are extinct, or extirpated, it's actually called, because it's not extinct worldwide. hey, I caught some mice in my house, I can't trust that. She's not happy right now. We don't know if they've been affected by a poison or something that mouse ate. So even though you can swear to me I use no poison, I don't use anything, that doesn't mean your neighbor did it. Mice travel, so it doesn't mean that. So a big thing for these guys is not to use the poison.
What's the difference between male and female?
The size. They're very similar. The females have a little more darkening specks here, but they're very similar in the size. The female is larger and the male is smaller.
What would be an owl we would see in Wilton that has a similar white face like that?
The barred owl is very common. I can't speak for Wilton, but I'm pretty sure it's probably common in Connecticut. In Wilton, they have a white face.
Yeah.
They're larger. They're a little bit wider. I believe Amy has a picture up on her presentation.
Barn
And
owl?
Barred. B-A-R-R-E.
Okay. Yeah, it had a little wider face.
Yes.
Yeah. Here, I'll show you.
She basically it's the barred owl, the gray
Yes.
ones.
Yeah, Bard.
Yeah.
Very
They're
common.
very common in backyards. So you can see them and they're not as secluded. She has a scream. It's almost like a ghost shrilling. I was really trying to get her to do it, but she wasn't doing it. So she's listening because her hearing, she can hear a mouse's heartbeat about 40 feet away. So that's just the heartbeat.
She'll chirp.
Yeah, she was in the box before. She wanted out. She can hear her. She can. If you know, she's used to me, so I can be loud. But when she scans the room, she is listening for different sounds of what she can hear.
I could be in my office, and if she's mad because they haven't fed her, so she literally does like a
Scream.
It's like
I
a
have
scream.
it.
It's like a.
Any ideas why they've gone extinct when we have several other variety owls that are very common?
These guys are also their habitat. They are really, really special to the habitat of the barns and grasslands. So that's really affected the species in Connecticut. Now we're doing great forested area because my next bird actually species come back to grassland. But with her, they have definitely decreased decline. I was at Audubon, as Amy said, for a long time, and about 15 years ago, we had a pair of barn owls that would come in, at least one, would come in and sit with our other Milton, who's our other barn owl, and start screaming. Our wildlife conservationist thinks I made it up in my brain. It's like, they were here, I'm telling you. Every night we would listen. So they were here a while ago, but we haven't seen them or heard them in a very long time.
Do they flee?
Yes, go ahead, David.
I was going to ask, have they tried releasing and repopulating?
She says, please try. But it's a very hot, no, not in Connecticut. I can't speak outside of that, but not in Connecticut. It's not an easy permit as well to breed. So there are some organizations, the one that we got her from, does have a very successful project that they do try, but it's not an easy task. Give me 1 second and I'll bring Ruby out. So owls we didn't really talk about, but they do swallow their mouse whole. So they do not tear and shred their food, so she will swallow her mouse whole. So approximately 8 hours, she will actually puff up an owl pellet, and that is basically the food that's not digested, the bones and the fur. Whereas Ruby is a diurnal bird coming out during the day. She tears and shreds her food. She's a little nerd. She's not going to be as calm as Millie, so I'm probably going to stay back a little bit. We'll see how she does. Ruby was hit by a car in Weston. So a lot of these birds do get hit by cars because, again, once they see food, that's all they focus on. The owls have binocular vision. They don't see a car coming and they can't put the brakes on. And we as people really can't put the brakes on. I try to, but not everybody can without causing a car accident. And she does get hit by cars. The person who hit her were all kind, hard people, but a lot of we put them in too small of boxes before they got to a vet or a rehabilitator, and she actually did more damage in the box than she did in the car crash. We think she had a lot of like a cracked beak, a lot of missing talons, things that probably would have been prevented if they weren't in the box. A lot of these birds, when they get hit by cars, you would think they'd have all these injuries, but some of them are just, they do. She's very excited there. They will just actually like perk up and fly off. If they don't, you will know it. I had a gentleman call me a couple years ago about a barn owl. He goes, Trish, I'm on Burr Street. Are you still there? I go, yeah. Well, why? He goes, I have a barn owl in my lap. I'm like, what do you mean you have a barn owl in your lap? He hit him. I guess the owl was flying and he hit him. But I was like, well, you better get here quick because if the barn owl actually wakes up, he's in your lap. Yeah. So he got here and I called a rehabber friend of mine thinking there might be some injuries. We opened the door, the bird flew out. And, he like just jumped up and he got up. But he just got stunned. The rehabber watched him for a little while and he flew off. So he was fine. So the best thing to do is call your local DEP or if you know any rehabbers, they'll try to help you out as well. This is Ruby. Ruby is a broad-winged hawk, and she does migrate to South America. She has been with us for about 7 years or so. She was hit in Easton, and she came to us where she can't fly. She has an injury to her wing, as well as a little injury, we think, to her eye. It's come out over the last couple of years. She can't see as well as she used to, but we think that's due to the car crash as well. But with hawks, they really need their eyesight. So owls hunt using their hearing, whereas our hawks hunt using their eyesight. So without that eyesight, she would have a hard time. They do migrate to South America as well, so you will not see them. I don't know what it is. She's squeezing my hand. She migrates, so they're usually gone around September, and they migrate back around March time. And these birds here, she'll eat small birds, small mice, small rodents, very small rodents. She usually catches them with her feet, and then she'll tear and shred with her. And same thing, they get icicles as well. She gets the occasional bird. Little chicks, we'll get them out when we learn. So we try to feed them a lot of the same food they would get in the wild as well as nutrition as long as we can get it, but we do have to be careful where we get it.
give them a round of applause. All right. I just want to thank our guest speakers, Amy and Tricia, so much. I've never been to an animal meeting with live animals. That's not to say it doesn't happen, but I'm very excited that this was ours. You know, I just got excited. I'm like,
Me too, I was like, oh, wow.
So ironically, the last time we had a live and in-person annual meeting was right here in 2020. And then here we are 4 years later after COVID in the same place. So thank you all for contributing to everything we do, to our mission, to the impacts that we have. And I want to say thank you. This concludes our meeting. And if anyone has any questions, find us. And if not, our contact information is in the back. We have literature. And have a snack, have a cookie.